Women, who have historically been less represented than men in leadership positions, emerge as leaders in some societies more than others. Even though women have shown their ability to success in different fields, still be exposed to this phenomenon. And in this video, we mention 5 different cultures: America, France, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and last but not least, our dear beautiful country, Morocco. We have chosen this topic because women should be valued and gain her rights of equality gender worldwide. So stay tuned. Hello everybody. So, African American women, named also Afro American, are literally the descendants of slaves people. Their rights were severely limited and they were long denied a rightful share in the economic, social, and political progress of the United States. They were subjected to racism, oppression, segregation, and violence. They were treated as a second-class citizen, so they have personally discriminated against. The discrimination was based on the prejudice of anti-white people, laws, and government policies. But the circumstances were changed by construction, development of the black community, the elimination of social segregation and civil rights movement, which sought political and social freedom. Their efforts were partial to the black freedom activism of the black feminist movement. The words and the action of these leaders continue to contribute to today's discussion around intersectionality, feminine and civil rights that demand equality and inclusion for all. African American women have made a basic and lasting contribution to American history and art. Today, black women are beginning to emerge across all industries, academia, government, and non-profit organizations. This trend is particularly evident in the development of new businesses. The women-owned business has grown 5 times faster in national average into 2007, fed primarily by black women. Black women face well-documented varieties, ranging from socioeconomic, handles the unconscious bias and discrimination. They use adversity to fuel their determination, hone their talent, and build their resilience. And now they are using the success to raise their visibility, share their experience, and inspire more black women to take up the challenges of leadership. For example, we can talk about Obama Michelle and Oprah. France, a land of baguette, wine full debauchery and liberated women who don't shave their legs. Birthday of the Enlightenment, topless sunbathing, and absolutely of Simone de Beauvoir. A nightmare for some, and a beautiful feminist paradise for others. Without diving into a full description of French women, yet the idea that French women are disdainably beautiful bourgeoisie women head to toe in Saint Laurent who effortlessly float through the world with men falling at their feet is outdated and irrelevant. The Parisians are different, and it's not because they are thin and beautiful, even though they are though, it's because of the way they fought for their rights, react, and storm to the world. Mais attendez, it is all started after the French Revolution, and French feminism is really a product of the French Revolution. Shall we get a little bit deeper? Okay, see, French women before the French Revolution were considered to be socially inferior to men, and most women had no access to education. Only the women belonging to the first and second estates, daughters of the nobles, and other working class had access to education. Women from the third estates were involved in small jobs. Some sold fruit, flowers, some were employed as domestic servants. But what about the after revolution? Women were not guaranteed political rights and were still considered to be passive citizens, but they organized groups, clubs in order to voice their views, demanding equal set of political rights, right to vote. Politically, women began to vocally and openly demand the rights during the French Revolution.
in which they participated followed. Some efforts were made to improve the conditions of women, like laws were made related to marriage. Divorce was legalized, schools were set up, schooling was made compulsory for girls. It was in 1946 that women were given the right to vote. The 1960s brought liberation in many different forms. Feminist activist groups like Psychanalyse et Politique were formed. Feminist organizations participated in the movement, which is still contentious for French historians, regarded by some as an assertion of liberty in the place of stifling bourgeois conservation, and by others as a selfish juvenile demand for individualist personal pleasure. Nevertheless, many see May 1968 as the real beginning of the contemporary women's liberation movement. Feminism in France, like elsewhere, has never been a unified movement. Women of diverse backgrounds and identities have always fought for their rights and continue to do so. Major contemporary debates within the movement center on sex work and the place of women in Islam, notably the right of Muslim women to wear the hijab. While France remains an incredibly successful country in many ways, its legacy of activism and revolution is a point of pride for French citoyens, and feminism is not such a taboo word for the majority of the population. French feminists have a rich and inspiring history on which
Japan is being propelled into the arena of women's leadership development due to globalization and changes in political and demographic context. As globalization expands, the complexity of female leadership development is emerging and begging the question: how can female leadership be understood in Japan, specifically in the arena of higher education? Firstly, the advancement of women is included in Japan's national goals, targeting increased participation of women in leadership positions in politics, business, and higher education. But only a tiny fraction of female workers have been able to swag the top roles at public, private, and non-profit organizations. The percentage of company presidents who are women are just 8% at the end of April, even though the prevalence of female chiefs has risen from 5% since 1998. The question of why Japan has only a small number of women with power and authority is long overdue to be answered in the eyes of many feminist researchers and Japanese studies scholars. I read in an article published in Kyoto University that sex segregation is the major indicator of gender inequality in employment and work. Vertical segregation means that women are concentrated at the lower end of the employment hierarchy, and the vertical segregation refers to women's concentration in traditional female jobs. Japan has higher levels of vertical sex segregation, although it has been the second powerful economy in the world for a long time following the USA. But it remains one of the most gender unequal countries, having women available as cheap labor at the bottom of the workplace. It has been functional not only for Japanese business, which can then save labor costs. Abstract Saudi Arabia is one of the few countries that set specific laws regarding women only. A woman is considered to be a second-class citizen who must depend on a male relative in all situations. Until recently, women did not have their own identification cards separate from those of their fathers or husbands. Women were also limited to certain levels of education, such as elementary or secondary school levels. More than that,
They were restricted to limited job opportunities. The laws also prohibit a woman from driving a car regardless of her age or whatever situations she may face. She must be driven by a man. The system worked well in the early days of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia when it became a nation in 1932. The Saudi government eventually agreed to issue separate identity cards for Saudi women so they could attain dignity and self-respect, enjoy their valid rights, and avoid trouble. In 2001, ID cards for Saudi women were finally issued. This was an achievement underlining the many progressive strides women in the kingdom have made. Say that Saudi Arabian women have been denied the Bill of Rights, been denied the rights of freedom, employment, health, equality before the law, and freedom of movement and equality in marriage. At present, there are some 20,000 firms owned by Saudi women, and the numbers of women registered in local chambers of commerce and industry is on the increase.
I'm in the Sahara Desert on a camel. And it's the sort of thing I would have thought I'd never get to do as a kid. Now I'm here.
Issues have recently become an important political topic that attract the attention of decision makers, activists, researchers, and politicians. Both women and men were involved in the birth of modern feminism. Together, they resisted the forces of patriarchy, which deprived them of their civic rights. The men who were involved were mostly highly educated with legal training and exposure to European thought. And the women belonged to the generation with educated daughter had illiterate mother. This was accompanied by a wave of enlightenment and awakening in the realms of philosophy and political thought. One of the major Moroccan male pioneers of women's rights is Mohammed bin al-Wazdani, who played a crucial political role in spreading progressive ideas on the emancipation of women. His work was continued by his colleagues, especially al-Fasi. The brains Moroccan women who became influential in the world of business are heirs of great capitals and daughters of powerful political families. But were their wives of businessmen, heirs of self-made women, they have one common like a strong presence and influence in the business world in the kingdom. 7 out of the top 10 most influential Moroccan business women were chosen by Jeune Afrique magazine among the most influential business women in Africa. That list included Salwa Akhnouch, CEO of Axal Group.
Everything to you.